Welcome back to Runecast and another book review, Rune book review video. Today we're going to talk about another one of my all-time favorite books, Rune Magic by Nigel Pennick. Nigel Pennick. I have several of his books. This one you can see is falling apart. I've had to tape it together. Like I've said in other videos, there are a few books that I've had to repurchase. Leaves of Yggdrasil, Futhark, and this one I will have to repurchase as well. It's lived a good, hard life. You can see I've got markers there from where I'm going to share a little bit with this book with you. But let me just tell you about Rune Magic. Rune Magic is an amazing book. When I found it, I was blown away. I couldn't believe it. It was one of those amazing, life-changing books that you get when you're a runester, and this is one of the reasons why. This is the opening page, and you can see that mammoth skull with lines and markings on it, and he says, the most ancient forerunners of the runes, pre-alphabetic symbols painted in Tiver on the skull of a mammoth from Mesrik, Ukraine, 14,000 years ago. So when you look at that, and you can see some runes there, is that algaes, you see the chevrons there. That was a motif of many ancient cultures. So you can see, and maybe later I'll go into some of the ancient stuff that goes back not only 1,000 years to the Christian suppression, 2,000 years to the Roman intervention into northwestern Europe, but 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 7,000 years ago, and it's hard for us to comprehend 2,000 years ago because we think of BC before Christ, that was 0 AD and below, and we think of 2022 as 2022 years after that date. So can you imagine 4,000 years? Can you imagine 6,000 years? Can you imagine 8,000? Or how about 14,000 years? That's how long ago symbols like this were being used to express the energies of the earth and express meaning and voice and vocabulary. It goes back many, many thousands of years. So that's what blew me away with this book. This page is actually detached, as you can see, but I've taped it together. It's hanging in there, but you guys, I need a new copy. You can tell how old it is. Look, the pages are all brown. I've had this book for many, many years, decades even. But Nigel is one of those who tells you a little bit about the history in this book, which I loved. He is a wealth of information, many, many books. I only have about 5 or 6 of them, but he keeps putting them out. This one, 1991. He wrote it on Lammas, 1991. And kind of let's see what he says about his journey. Using the runes today promises us a return to eternal values, balance within ourselves, and harmony between human beings and nature. Ultimately, rune magic is a means of self-transformation. It is not an end in itself. It is a means towards personal growth. If we use the runes respectfully, the way will be shown to us step by step, revealing truths and potentials we could never have thought possible at the beginning of our journey. So I love what he says there. The reason this book is so amazing and which made me a Nigel Pennick fan is, oh my God, the wealth of knowledge. I mean, he goes into the history, the Elder Futhark, the 3 Ets, the later developments like Ak, Os, Or, Air, Kjorth, Kalk, Stan, and Gar. These are the Anglo-Saxon. They have a few extra runes in their alphabet. But he also, let's see, did I pull out that rune? Yeah. He also goes over the 18 spells that were carried down through the generations to us. Here's the 18 spells, which I loved it. You can see I used to have a stick of incense marking the place there years and years ago. So he has all 18 spells here, which are awesome. Some of you are interested in rune magic, working your will. I love that. That's what this is all about, with the herbs and the books and the spells. So he goes over the runic spells. Oh my gosh, I can't tell you how much I love this book, you guys. This is kind of deep. So when you're ready to take the plunge, this is the book for you. You go into this one and Leaves of Yggdrasil and Futhark. We'll go over Futhark. Is a classic, perennial classic. Most intermediary to advanced runesters know Futhark. That's why the first two book reviews, I'm trying to draw attention to Rune Magic and Leaves of Yggdrasil, because these are the other two sources that I just loved. So he goes over a lot here. This is a deep dive if you want to get into it. He goes into some of the magical rings that we've found, things that have been created, some of the rune stones. He shows some of the elder writing and cryptic rune systems, which are amazing. They used to do them in secret, which is how I first got introduced into the runes way back in the early 1980s. And I'll just kind of share a personal story. Look at all this. The beautiful illustrations, these woodcuts that are probably hundreds of years old. He shares them here with us. The way I got started with the runes was I was dating a girl. We were like 16 years old, and her father would not let her date anybody. And I was in love with this young lady, and I wanted to communicate with her, but she was deathly afraid of her father finding out that she had a suitor. So I looked in the encyclopedia for different alphabets, and I used to write her notes in runes. I found the runes, and I thought, maybe I can teach her how to read these, and I will write her love letters in runes. And so that's my first, that was my first exposure to the runes. Nothing magic at that point. It was all just about young love and trying to write your girlfriend a letter in code. So when he was talking about the cryptic runes, right? That's kind of what I was using the runes for back in the early 1980s. He goes, of course, through all the meanings of the runes. And you can see here how much I've loved this book. I've created bind runes on the pages, done scribblings. Yeah, I love this book. But he goes through all the meanings, which is amazing and awesome. Look, this is post-noted Bjork, the 18th rune. I've highlighted in here. You can see I've thoroughly enjoyed this book. This one is awesome. The illustrations, like I was saying, this is amazing, right? Binding Magic, the Viking Age Stone of Kirkby. This one is amazing. So yeah, he just goes through it all. The Northumbrian row, oh my gosh, that's crazy. Then he goes through even the other ones, this and Kjorth, Kalk. These are the Anglo-Saxon, the extra ones. I think it goes up to 33 with Stan and Gar. Yeah, Stan and Gar. But then he goes further, the 5th et. So, I mean, everything you want to know. This guy, I would love to hang out in his library someday. He also goes through a lot of magic. So, negative and positive magic. The rune teaching the rune teaching of the way of the 8 winds described in this book disapproves of all harmful or negative magic. So he goes through the positive magic, right, which is what I'm all about. I've never delved into negative magic. I would not recommend it. One of my mentors early on, Uma, told me that it was ill-advised, that you should never try and go against one's will. Because why? Well, when you're working magic, you're trying to work your will. So why would you want to go against someone else's? And she told me the difficulty of working a spell that had negative or connotations, and how it was really much more than you would want to get into. But anyway, wonderful Nigel, who still has a presence online. He's a musician of sorts. So he did transfer from the pre-internet age to the internet age, but unfortunately I could not find anything on YouTube about Nigel and the runes, although he is a master and amazing. And I would, like I said, I would love to spend a day in his library, because his sources are impeccable. Where he found these volumes, 17th century volumes, how he culled this knowledge together, it's truly amazing. And this part here, numerology and colors, I will have to do an entire video, or maybe 2, on the runic numerology, because it is really cool. It's intense. I use it with my own readings all the time. It's a intrinsic part of my readings. Runic numerology and the colors, which I just thought was amazing. So he goes into that here, which I loved. I love that part. Names of power, advanced runic systems, and then he talks about the rune colors. Trees and wood magic, I love that part too. The important trees to the faith and to the runes, like the alder, the ash, the oak, the apple, the aspen tree. He goes into all of that, which is part of the botany part. And he went into the herbs, which I'm going into the herbs. And so some of you have been following along with my series on runes and herbs. This is where it comes from Nigel Pennick and rune magic. So the coolest part, and there's the goddess Frigg right there. You can see the coolest part is the appendices. Again, you can see me working out numbers and bind runes. And I love it. But the appendices is the coolest part. So, if all of you are wondering, how does he know about runes and herbs? Look at, I even tried to start coloring in the different colors. But here they are. All here in Nigel's book. Now, eventually, I will put out a list, maybe in the description, about this when I complete my rune herb series. But this is where it all comes from. I love this table. You can see I have referred to it again and again and again, but I love it. So as you can see, every rune has a tree associated with it, an herb, a color, a sexual polarity, an element, a deity, and symbolic meaning, of course, which is what everybody's normally studying, is the symbolic meaning. But look at how deep they go. Look at everything in between. Tree, herb, color, polarity, element, deity. You gotta love it. So, for any inspiring runester, this is a must-have book. Rune Magic, A History and Practice of Ancient Runic Traditions by Nigel Pennick. And there's your book review, your rune book review. Share your favorite books, share your thoughts, comments below, ask away. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn and grow.